Welcome back to the VHS Vault. I am your host at VHS Jason. Next to me is the man the whole channel's named after, Jason Roy Gaston. How are you, sir?
I am living. I am alive, which is more than can be said for many of the characters in this film, this wonderful cinematic tour de force that we are about to dissect lovingly today.
Yes, of course, we are talking about Army of Darkness, the third film in the Evil Dead franchise. And it really is truly a sequel to number 2 more than number 1 is a sequel to number 2. It doesn't really even matter at this point. But yeah, it's a film that kind of, for me, I was right into the film. Films at that point, I was going every weekend to the cinema. I was on top of the news. I didn't even know they were making this film, and it kind of just popped up one day at the theater. So let's get into our memories of it.
Oh my goodness!
All right, Jace, give us the background of this movie and you.
So this is kind of funny for me because I had no idea that this was a sequel to Evil Dead at all. I just thought, oh, they're doing a weird Dungeons and Dragons movie with dead demons and stuff, and it's going to be a comedy. This will be interesting. And I did not see it until it came out on VHS. I saw it, and within the first 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, this is a sequel to those movies I've never seen before. But it didn't matter because they get you caught up and you're ready to go. And I didn't know what to make of it at first because I was unfamiliar with the humor of these movies, and this movie takes the humor and amplifies it. Like it injects the cocaine right into its veins and just goes for maximum laughs at the expense of just being the dumbest laughs possible. And I ended up just thoroughly enjoying this movie. And I guess I have to ask you, which version of the movie did you watch? Because there are currently 4 cuts.
Well, I've watched, I believe, the theatrical cut, the original intended theatrical cut with Sam Raimi's intended theatrical end to it. So basically the post-apocalyptic ending.
Okay, so you saw the bootleg cut.
If that's what they're calling it.
Yeah, it's the one where the DVD package looks like it's written on brown shopping bags and everything.
Yeah.
Bootleg cut. That's the one I watched as well. So that's the one we are discussing today.
Yeah, great. Because
what about yours? What about your memories? I want to know.
I said I didn't even know it came out. I'd seen it that it got a theatrical run. I went to see it because I was a massive Evil Dead 2 at this fan. This is me right deep into horror. I'm obsessed with horror at this point when this film comes out. So I wanted to go and see it. And I'll be honest with you, when I first saw it, it jarred me for about the first 20 minutes. Number one, I didn't like how they kind of changed. The way that number 2 ended was so like, a hero with the chainsaw hand in the air. And they kind of dismiss that and kind of make their new version of it. Yeah, it's jarring. But once you're into it, once you go, okay, it's this type of movie, I remember having a great time. And obviously, it became one of those movies as we got older. I'm going to speak for you here, Jason, because I'll just assume.
Yeah, what? It's not like I'm just betting here or anything. Whatever.
Yeah, that we just watched it a ton. It became one of those real cult films. It was one of those things that, it became a comedy in our minds. For me, purely, it's been a comedy. Like I can't even think that this is a horror as such. It has horror elements, but it's certainly not. But I had great times with it. I definitely had great times with it. But let's have a talk about what behind the scenes stuff we know about it. Okay, behind the scenes. Yeah. Sam Raimi, I got to say this. This is not official behind the scenes, but this is his childhood fantasy played out on screen, right? This is his Ray Harryhausen love. This is his love for the Three Stooges. This is all his childhood jammed into this film, But apparently it was part of a deal he'd made with Universal after Darkman. So when he did Darkman for them, they said, what do you want to do? And he goes, Army of Darkness. So which was pretty cool. Do you have any bits and pieces about the making of this film, Jace?
Well, I know that there was a big studio kerfluffle where the studio delayed the film's release as part of a leveraging tactic against Dino De Laurentiis, because they were trying
Ooh,
to get the rights. Yeah, they were trying to get the rights for Hannibal Lecter away from him. I guess they were going to make a movie out of that. I don't know if they ever did or not. I don't really pay attention. But Bruce Campbell just said he wasted a whole year of his life waiting for this movie to be released, and it finally did, and the rest is absolute history.
well, it had a budget of $11 million and made $21 million theatrical. So it was profitable
Salud.
in the theaters. It was profitable, but it made its nut. I mean, it made its big nut from VHS and obviously sales afterwards, and kind of rightfully so, because it's an adorable movie. It's an adorable movie.
It's adorably stupid. I love it.
Let's get into the plot. All right. The plot doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's the dumbest, stupidest, non-logical plot you'd ever want to see.
Ash goes to medieval times and he wants to go home. That's your plot. That's it.
That's your plot.
That was what they were originally going to name it. Did you know that they were going to call it The Medieval Dead?
That is such a better title.
I agree. But they went with Army of Darkness. I don't know. If they called it The Medieval Dead, I would have at least known it was a sequel when I saw it first. But, it's fine. Whatever. Sam Raimi, I guess he kind of knows what he's doing.
Yeah. But as you're right, Jason, he arrives in 994. 994, apparently.
You're thinking of Gargoyles. He arrived in the 14th century in this movie.
You've just caught me out. I've been doing research for another show.
Yeah, he was. It was in the 1300s. I don't remember the exact time.
Yeah, no, it was totally 1300s. They said that in the second one and in the third one. But yeah,
1,000 years ago, Bruce Campbell and the Boomstick ruled. It was an age of darkness. It was a world of fear. It was Army of Darkness. Da 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 da.
It's great. It's great with that thing. The thing about this film, I don't know if you were rewatching. They had to do some cleaning up and editing, I think, and you can tell some pretty egregious errors in continuity and things missing. And early on, we get it, like where he gets captured, he's got no gun, right? He's got no shotgun, and then he magically gets his shotgun out of absolute nowhere. But what a great beginning, and what they've done with
he hid it somewhere. It was in his prison pocket.
Oh yeah, in his prison pocket. Oh yeah. But the way Bruce Campbell have created Ash in this movie, I don't know how to describe it, but the way with his cheesy one-liners and his over-the-top facial expressions and that, he's just crafted such a character that could have gone way too B grade, but he dances on that line. And the big shout out has to go to Bruce Campbell in this film because of what he was able to achieve. I mean, he's playing,
and I agree and I disagree. I do think Bruce Campbell needs all the accolades he needs for this movie because he carried it. If he had not been able to carry this movie would have failed, and it would have failed hard, and it would have been remembered as one of the worst movies of all time, in my opinion. But saying that he skated the line as a B grade hero, no, he walked right up to that line. He shot it in the face. He stepped over its dead body and started dancing naked over the line. All right. Bruce Campbell think we're meaning the same thing then. Yeah, he's not only like B grade here. He's like D, C, E, F. He's every single grade beyond B, and he's enjoying it, and we enjoy it too. He's brilliant in this movie.
He's being backed up with sound because if you notice with Ash, you get to hear the sound design. They're stealing sound effects directly from Three Stooges.
Mm-hmm.
Like eyes being poked,
and
the way he's kind of reacting, it is so over the top comical.
The screams, Bruce Campbell's screams in this movie, I think they made me laugh more than anything, especially whenever he's fighting the tiny evil Ashes.
Oh, I love
that whole sequence. I had people watching this movie with me.
They're amazing.
Wait a second, that's not Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, look at the guy on the right. The guy on the right looks like Adam Baldwin from
and the dude in the middle, that looks like the dude from Lazy Town.
Yeah, they just put black smut on his face to kind of hide it. But it's the 90s.
Like Dietrich Bader. I know we didn't notice. We were just like, "What is this?"
It's the glory of that time too, because one of the other glory of this film is the use of special effects. You know, the skeleton scene, like the battle at the end, is phenomenal. For us, it's a great mix of stop animation, rear projection, and actual, characters. It's perfect. The puppets are the best in this.
I love the dead puppets. This movie is such a wonderful collision and explosion of the Three Stooges, Looney Tunes, Ray Harryhausen, and the Muppets.
Yeah.
And saying those words, I cannot believe that this is a movie that I love.
Oh,
because
yes.
This sounds like something that a cocaine fever dream that some movie studio made. Like, I want to make a movie with dead Muppets.
It's so good, and they infuse each one of those deadites with a little mini personality, because they all have reactions or they have little things to say before they get chopped up, and it's I'm
gonna go this way.
It's so good, and they don't even I don't think they're even trying to make them look realistic. They're giving them the puppet maneuvers on purpose. So
no, you could have shown the guy's hand controlling the puppet. We would not have cared. And I'm sure there's a shot or two of the guy controlling the puppets. I'm sure there's one in there somewhere.
Back to Ash, though, I think he's better as, and I love him as good Ash, but his bad Ash, I love.
Yeah,
bad Ash is badass. Put it that way. It's the best.
There are parts of this movie, honestly, that I think were a hallucination that I had. Just like, that did not happen in this film. And then I'm like, yeah, he really did grow another him out of his shoulder, and they ended up having a Three Stooges fight.
Yeah. Yeah, and absolutely. And that whole scene, too, Sam Raimi somehow still kept it creepy in its own little way, because when they're running together, conjoined through the woods, that's got a real horror, creepy vibe to it.
Yes, it does. And it's I have no words for it. I have no words. What even is this movie? Why is this movie so good? Did this movie even have a script, or did Sam Raimi just show up and look at Bruce Campbell's like, what do you feel like doing today? I kind of want to have a fight with my Siamese twin. I kind of want to step on little me's. Yeah, let's do that. All right, well, let's there's three homeless guys across the street that look kind of like you. Let's go see if they want to be in this movie.
Okay, let's talk about look, put it this way. I love this film, and I'm not going to criticize it, because to me, this is like kicking the poor kid on crutches. Like, if you're going to pick on this film, you can get all high and mighty and talk about its weaknesses, but you just don't get it if that's the case, from my opinion. But the ending, Jason, we talked about it. 4 endings, you're saying. I'm really only aware of 2.
Okay, so there is the post-apocalyptic ending where he ends up in the future, basically because he doesn't know how to count. And then there's an ending where it ends in S-Mart, whenever he shoots the Deadite woman. Honestly, I don't know the other 2 either. I just saw on IMDb there's 4 different cuts of this movie. Now, I don't know if there's 4 different endings, but there's 4 different cuts. So like I said earlier,
it was a choice that Universal weren't happy with, the dark ending of the post-apocalyptic future, but it's a payoff to a joke that's being played out earlier in the film when he doesn't take instruction well. That's the point.
No,
and he pays the ultimate price for it.
Yes, he does,
and that's the joke at the end. Like, to me, that was awesome.
Klaatu Barada Nikto. By the way, what famous movie is that from? What is that from? Tell me what movie that's from. Klaatu Barada Nikto. The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Oh, of course.
That is the stand down code for Gort. Gort.
Wow. Yeah. No. Now you say it, absolutely, but no, you would have got me there. But
or as Keanu Reeves says it, Klaatu Barada Nikto.
Oh, yeah.
Did you just step on my dog?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you raising trauma for me. That 2011 film was horrible.
It really was.
It really was.
I love Keanu Reeves. I will go watch Keanu Reeves in anything except that.
Yeah.
I will never watch that again. So that means
I
we're
will-
probably going to have to do it on the VHS Vault one day.
Yeah, we will at some point.
Yeah.
Well, I will be watching this again. There's no
James
doubt.
Gibbons is going to pop in the comments going, do that movie! I want to see you hurt!
No, probably. But no, I mean, this is a great time, wasn't it? It's a great fun
It was.
film. It's
This was
goofy, it's silly.
Fantastic.
It's a film you can kind of show any kid from about 7 upwards, I think, could deal with it, honestly. I mean, because even in the gore is so comical. Even Evil Ash is always all burnt in that. I mean, by the time he becomes skeleton Evil Ash and his head's spinning around and his eyes are rolling around like a slot machine, it's a kid's film in a way.
My son and I watched this movie whenever he was like 5 or 6, and he was cackling the entire time.
Yeah.
He was absolutely cackling. He had no nightmares. He was running through the house like, yeah, come get some, come get some.
You know, yeah, it's a wonderful film. All right, well, that ties it up. If you haven't seen Army of Darkness, well, you probably were not watching this. And if you have seen it, leave all your comments down, what your memories were, if you loved it as much as we did, or you think it's a blight on the Evil Dead franchise. And I bet you there's some people out there that think that, Jason.
And quite frankly, how dare you?
How dare you? Absolutely. But we will be moving on to our next film for next week, Jason. And we are going back to 1984.
Yes, it's your pick this week. So
it's my pick this week. Well, kind of was my pick. And I handballed it. That's an Aussie saying. Handballed it to a guest that we will be having on for this next one. Our friend and colleague from the Captain's Quadrant, Joe.
Ew.
I asked him, what would you like to... I know. It's our special needs friend we're helping out, you know? But he had a great suggestion. His suggestions, we're going to 1984, the iconic sci-fi classic, The Terminator. Yes.
Yes.
We are going back.
That's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, if I remember correctly.
That is. And I'm going to put it out there controversially. I don't think this film holds up as well as it used to. And we'll talk about that.
How dare you?
Dare I? How dare I? But yeah, that's where it's going to be. So, guys, remember, if you have a suggestion, you need to let us know. You need to comment below and make a suggestion. Or more importantly, and look, she agrees, she's demanding it.
Yes.
More importantly, to be able to make a suggestion.
She says join Patreon.
That's
join
right, yes.
Patreon or you will be destroyed.
And you'll get first priority pick when it comes to the movies here on the VHS Vault, plus lots of wonderful other things. Guys, that wraps it up. Army of Darkness, amazing. Next Evil Dead film, I believe we jump all the way to 2013, don't we, Jason?
Ah, yes, to the remake, which is just titled Evil Dead, not The Evil Dead, just Evil Dead.
Directed by the new horror icon they're calling Fede Alvarez. So this was one of his. They're calling him one of the biggest Hollywood horror directors now. So
I would have to look at his IMDb because honestly, his name.
I think you'll be surprised.
I probably will be.
He's actually going to be the director of Alien Romulus, which comes out.
Ooh,
in a couple of months.
That one's got my hackles up. I'm ready to watch that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love me a good Aliens movie. A good Aliens movie. I haven't had one in a while.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Yeah. What, you don't consider Alien versus Predator 2 Requiem?
Oh, yeah. The movie that knows what we want and shows us everything but that? Sure, why not? Yeah, I want to see a kid explode from the inside. I want to see pregnant women impregnated with alien eggs that will probably eat their fetuses. Absolutely. I want to see that. No, I didn't want to see any of that.